I learned early on that life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you deserve. Now that can either be a hard truth or a quiet promise. It depends on how you live, because what you deserve is shaped by what you think, what you learn, and what you do every single day. Wealth doesn't start with a paycheck. It starts with your philosophy, not with income, but with intention. Because activity without alignment is wasted energy. You can work 14 hours a day, run 1,000 miles a year, burn the candle at both ends, and still not move forward if your thinking is broken. So, what's the solution? It's simple. Mindset is the first investment. Everything else, your effort, your strategy, your results, is just an interest on that investment. Get the mind right and the money follows. Learn daily and you'll grow consistently. Think like a winner and you'll begin to move toward the kind of life most people only dream about. And that's what I want you to take from this. Not hustle, not pressure, but understanding, clarity, a new way of seeing your time, your habits, your mind, and your potential. You are not just here to survive. You're here to grow, to master, to rise, to think like a winner, learn daily, live rich, not just in money, but in character, and attract the kind of wealth that stays. Let me tell you, wealth doesn't begin with the bank account. It begins with the mind. It begins with what you know, how you think, and what you're willing to keep learning. One of the great secrets of those who become wealthy is this: they never stop feeding their mind. They understand that learning is not an event, it's a discipline. It's not a cram session, it's a daily practice. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. I'm not asking you to read a library by the end of the week. What I am asking is, can you read a page a day? Can you watch 10 minutes of something that stretches your thinking instead of numbing it? Can you sit quietly and study one principle, not scroll through 100 pieces of noise? You see, the poor man thinks learning stops at graduation. The wealthy man knows that's where it begins. I remember when I was broke. Not just financially, but mentally. My mind was full of complaints and confusion. But then someone handed me a book and I actually read it, just one chapter at a time. That one book didn't make me rich, but it planted a seed. Then I read another and another. One idea started to shape my habits. Another idea started to challenge my assumptions. Then I started applying those ideas, and that's when my income began to change. It wasn't overnight, it was over time. You water the mind like a garden one drop at a time. And the harvest is wealth, clarity, opportunity, and yes, money. But here's the key. You have to do it daily. You have to take responsibility for your own education. Not just the kind that gets you a certificate, but the kind that gets you results. You'd be amazed what 15 minutes a day can do over 5 years. I know people who spend more time checking their likes on social media than they do checking their growth in life. Don't be that person. Be the person who chooses growth. You're not going to read one article and become a millionaire. But you might read one idea that teaches you how to think like one. And thinking like one, well, that's the beginning. Winners don't wait for learning to be urgent. They make it part of their schedule. The poor mindset says, I'll learn when I need it. The wealthy mindset says, I'll learn now so I'm ready when I need it. That's a big difference. I remember hearing this line, and it stuck with me. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. I took that seriously. Every day I picked up a book. Not a trashy one, but something that taught me how to sell, how to persuade, how to save, how to grow. And before long, my business began to change. My income shifted. Why? Because I had changed. One new insight applied to your daily behavior can increase your income over a year, tenfold over a decade. But only if you stay consistent. And that's what separates those who build wealth from those who wish for it. Wishing is emotional. Learning is practical. One gives you hope, the other gives you tools. Which one are you building your life on? Don't try to memorize everything. Just look for one idea a day and write it down, then apply it, then repeat. That's how you build lifelong earning by starting with small daily learning. Wealth is not something that wanders aimlessly into your life like a stray dog looking for scraps. No, wealth is like a magnet, drawn to those who hold a clear vision, a vivid picture of what they want to create and where they're headed. I often say that vague goals produce vague results. If you tell yourself, I want to be rich someday, you're setting yourself up to chase shadows. You don't just want to be rich, you want a specific kind of wealth, and that clarity changes everything. Think about it. If you're traveling without a map or destination, any road will do. But if you say, I want $1 million in assets by age 45, with $10,000 a month in passive income, suddenly your decisions become sharper, your actions more focused. That clarity acts like a lighthouse, cutting through the fog of distraction and confusion. It doesn't mean the path will always be easy, but it does mean you know which way to walk. In my own life, I remember when I was struggling financially and mentally, I didn't just say, I want to do better. I sat down and wrote out a vision. I wanted a certain income, a certain lifestyle, and a level of financial freedom that would allow me to live on my terms. I put numbers to those dreams and dates to those goals. That vision didn't guarantee success overnight, but it gave me something to aim at every single day. When the obstacles came, and they always do, I had something to pull me forward. You see, clarity is the antidote to confusion, and confusion breeds inaction. When you don't know what you want or how to get there, you stay stuck. That's why so many people drift financially. They're waiting for some grand sign or magic formula instead of setting a clear, measurable goal. When you're clear about your financial destination, you start to make better choices. You save more, you invest wisely, you build income streams, and you keep your eyes on the long game. It's not just about money either. Defining what wealth means to you is crucial. For some, wealth is freedom. For others, it's security, legacy, or the ability to give generously. When you define your wealth in your own terms, it becomes personal and powerful. Then your efforts aren't just random acts, they become a focused campaign toward a meaningful target. I've seen too many people chase after money without a clear plan, burning out or giving up halfway. But those who write down their goals, revisit them daily, and measure their progress, those are the ones who build lasting wealth. They understand that money isn't just earned, it's attracted by purpose and clarity. So, if you want to build wealth, start by sharpening your vision. Be specific. Set measurable targets. Write them down. Review them. Let your goals be the compass that guides your daily work. Because wealth flows to those who see it clearly and move toward it with relentless focus. Without clarity, your wealth will remain a dream. With clarity, it becomes a plan, and with a plan, anything is possible. Every person who wants to build lasting wealth must understand that their financial health is not just about how much money comes in, but more importantly, how much money stays in. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is to audit your life regularly, at least once every 30 days. Identify those silent drains on your financial well-being. I call these wealth leaks. If you don't plug these leaks, no matter how much you earn, you'll never build real financial freedom. Think about it this way. If you owned a boat, you wouldn't ignore water slowly seeping in, right? You'd patch every hole because you know even a small leak can sink your ship over time. Your finances work the same way. Small leaks on unnoticed subscription here, a spontaneous emotional purchase there, wasted time that could be productive add up and drain your resources. The key is to spot these leaks before they get out of control. Begin your monthly audit by tracking every single expense. Don't just glance at your bank statements. Dig deep. Look for recurring charges, memberships you forgot you had, or purchases that gave you temporary pleasure but no lasting value. Often, emotional spending is the biggest culprit. When you're stressed, bored, or trying to impress someone, you may buy things you don't need. These moments may seem small, but they can quietly sabotage your savings goals. But it's not only about money. Time is your most precious asset, and wasting it is like throwing money into the wind. How many hours a week do you spend on activities that don't contribute to your growth or income? Could some of that time be redirected toward learning, planning, or building a side income? During your audit, honestly evaluate where your time goes and make adjustments. Trim the unnecessary, whether that's time spent on mindless entertainment or low-value activities. Once you identify your leaks, the next step is to take action. Cancel the subscriptions that don't serve you. Set limits on impulse spending and create a plan to redirect those savings into something that builds wealth. That could mean increasing your emergency fund, investing in a retirement account, or even buying a book that teaches a new skill. From my experience, these audits can be a real eye-opener. I remember early in my career when I tracked my spending, I found I was wasting more money than I thought on things that didn't bring me closer to my goals. Fixing those leaks allowed me to redirect resources toward education and investment. Over time, these small adjustments compounded into substantial progress. You don't have to make huge sacrifices, but you do have to be disciplined and intentional. Wealth is often built not by big windfalls, but by consistent, deliberate choices to manage what you have wisely. The monthly audit is your tool for clarity and control, keeping you accountable and aware. When you plug your financial leaks, you free up resources to fund your future, your dreams, and your freedom. Remember, wealth is less about how much you make and more about how much you keep and grow. So start today. Audit your life, find those leaks, and patch them one by one. Your financial freedom depends on it. There's a truth that many overlook, yet it is fundamental to success. Every day you allow yourself to drift without purpose, without direction, is a day lost forever. It's not just a lost day. It's a day that sets you back far more than you might imagine. One day wasted in drift can delay an entire year of progress. This is a reality that winners understand deeply. They don't let the day decide for them. They decide the day. When you wake up each morning without a plan, without a clear intention, you surrender control of your time and your future. You become a passenger on the bus of life rather than the driver. The consequences are subtle at first, but grow exponentially. Hours lost here, minutes squandered there, they accumulate, and before you know it, the momentum you once had slips away. Momentum is like compound interest. The gains build upon themselves, but if you stop contributing, the progress slows and eventually reverses. I've seen it in my own life and in the lives of those I've mentored. The difference between someone who achieves their financial goals and someone who remains stuck isn't just talent or luck. It's the discipline to seize every day with intention and focus. The person who wins in life is not the one who waits for perfect conditions, but the one who starts right now with what they have, where they are. When you decide your day, you prioritize what matters, your goals, your growth, your financial future. This might mean waking up earlier to invest time in learning, blocking off hours for focused work, or simply saying no to distractions. It's about protecting your time like a treasure, because it is. Time is your most valuable asset, more precious than money, more finite than opportunities. Every idle hour, every day spent drifting is a compound loss. Think of it as money slipping through your fingers, not in one big bill, but in countless small coins. The problem is those coins add up, and the impact becomes visible over months and years. Missing just one productive day might cost you a week of momentum. Missing a week could cost you a month, and missing a month might set you back a year. The discipline you exercise today creates dividends for tomorrow. It's like planting seeds. If you nurture them daily, over time, they grow into a strong tree that provides fruit season after season. But if you neglect your garden for even a short while, weeds take over, and the harvest suffers. Remember, success is not a single event, but the sum of small, consistent actions. When you decide your day, you are making a commitment to your future self, a commitment that says, I will not drift. I will act. This mindset separates those who live paycheck to paycheck, always chasing time, from those who build wealth steadily, confidently, and sustainably. So, guard your days fiercely. Plan your mornings with purpose. Choose your actions with care. Let every moment be a brick in the foundation of your financial freedom. Because when you control your day, you control your destiny. And that is the essence of thinking like a winner, working like a beast, and building lasting wealth. Income is not merely a number on a paycheck or a bank statement. It is a reflection of your inner beliefs about money, value, and success. What you earn is deeply connected to what you believe about earning, saving, giving, and investing. This is why many people work hard year after year, but see little change in their financial situation. The missing piece isn't effort alone. It's the philosophy they hold about money. Think about it. If you believe money is scarce, hard to come by, or something to fear, then your actions will naturally align with that belief. You might avoid risks, hold back on investing in yourself, or fall into patterns of self-sabotage. On the other hand, those who see money as a tool, something abundant, something that grows with proper care, act differently. They make decisions that increase their income, not just in the short term, but over the long haul. The transformation begins when you consciously upgrade your personal philosophy. This means asking yourself tough questions. What do I truly believe about money? Do I see it as a servant or a master? Am I generous or do I cling tightly? Am I willing to invest in my growth and take calculated risks? Each answer shapes your financial behavior and consequently your results. When I started out, I held many limiting beliefs. I thought wealth was for others people who were lucky, connected, or born into it. But when I began studying, reading, and exposing myself to new ideas, my mindset shifted. I realized that the wealthy don't just stumble into riches. They develop a mindset and a philosophy that supports growth. They don't just upgrade their bank accounts. They upgrade their thinking first. Giving is a critical part of this philosophy. Many fear giving because they worry it will diminish what they have. But the truth is, generosity opens the flow of abundance. It teaches discipline and gratitude. It shifts focus from scarcity to plenty. Winners understand this principle and practice it daily. They give not just money, but time and knowledge, creating a cycle of growth and reward. Saving and investing also require a mindset of patience and trust in the future. It's easy to get caught up in immediate gratification, but wealth grows over time. The mind that embraces delayed gratification is the mind that attracts lasting wealth. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Your income will only rise as your mindset expands. When you upgrade your philosophy about money, your actions change. You seek opportunities to add value, you learn new skills, and you manage your resources wisely. Your confidence grows, attracting better opportunities, partnerships, and investments. Remember, the greatest asset you have is your mind. When you invest in upgrading your philosophy, you invest in your capacity to earn more, save more, and create wealth that lasts. So, start today by examining your beliefs. Challenge the old, limiting thoughts and replace them with empowering ones that serve your vision. Because when the mind expands, the money follows naturally, inevitably, and abundantly. When you see sudden financial gains, it's easy to be tempted to upgrade your lifestyle immediately to buy the bigger house, the fancier car, or the latest gadgets. But the truth is, wealth that arrives before your mind is ready often slips away just as fast. I've seen many people come into money and lose it all because their habits, beliefs, and mindset hadn't grown to handle that new level of abundance. The secret to lasting wealth is to upgrade your mind first, then allow your lifestyle to follow naturally. Wealth isn't about flashy possessions or external appearances. It's about the internal transformation that prepares you to manage, grow, and sustain your income over time. The rich don't just get richer by chance. They evolve mentally and emotionally before their bank accounts do. They invest in learning, self-discipline, and habits that reinforce their financial growth. Only then do they make lifestyle changes that reflect their new reality. Think about it this way. If you buy a luxury car without understanding money management, without discipline, without a plan for sustaining income, that car becomes a liability, a burden. But if you develop your mindset first, if you learn the value of delayed gratification, budgeting, investing, and creating multiple income streams, then the car is a symbol of your progress, not a trap. I remember when I first started out, I didn't have much money, but I focused heavily on upgrading my knowledge, habits, and philosophy. I read books, listened to mentors, and worked on improving myself every day. I didn't rush to buy things I couldn't afford or didn't need. Instead, I invested in myself. As my mind expanded, so did my income. When I finally could afford nicer things, they were not a distraction, but a reward for my discipline. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing income with wealth. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you keep and grow. If your mindset isn't strong, a high income can disappear quickly through poor spending habits. But a strong mindset builds lasting wealth by focusing on saving, investing, and reinvesting in your growth. Upgrading your mind means adopting the habits of the wealthy, continuous learning, wise decision-making, and emotional control. It means practicing patience and resisting the urge to show off or impress others prematurely. True wealth is humble. It's built quietly on a foundation of wisdom. So, before you think about upgrading your car, your wardrobe, or your home, ask yourself, have I upgraded my mindset to handle this new level of wealth? Am I prepared to make smart choices that protect and multiply my resources? When the answer is yes, then your lifestyle upgrade will be a sign of true progress, not a potential downfall. Remember, money follows mindset. When your mind grows first, your wealth not only comes but stays. Build the person before the purchase, and you will build wealth that lasts. Money does not respond to emotions, it respects discipline. This is a fundamental truth that separates those who struggle financially from those who achieve lasting wealth. I have seen time and again that the emotional spender who buys to soothe sadness, boredom, or insecurity never finds real financial peace. Their money slips through their fingers like water, gone before they know it. On the other hand, the discipline builder, the one who views money as a tool rather than a toy, creates and preserves wealth steadily over time. Emotions can cloud judgment, leading to impulsive purchases and reckless decisions. Perhaps you know the feeling. A stressful day, a desire for instant gratification, and suddenly you find yourself buying something unnecessary just to feel better in the moment. This cycle feeds poverty thinking. But wealth thinking demands a different approach. It demands that we step back, separate our feelings from our financial decisions, and act with clarity and purpose. Discipline means setting a plan and sticking to it, regardless of how you feel. It means budgeting, saving, and investing with patience. I remember when I first started my financial journey, discipline was my greatest ally. Even when temptations called, I reminded myself of my goals. Instead of splurging on fleeting pleasures, I chose to put that money to work building assets that would multiply and grow. It's important to recognize that spending money isn't inherently bad. What matters is why and how you spend it. Are your purchases driven by thoughtful intention or are they emotional reactions? The wealthy understand that every dollar has a job, whether it's to pay bills, invest, or develop skills, and they assign their money accordingly. When feelings threaten to disrupt that plan, they pause, reflect, and choose wisely. Investing with patience is another expression of discipline. The market fluctuates, setbacks happen. The emotionally reactive person may panic sell or chase trends, but the disciplined investor stays the course. I've learned through my own experience and observation that patience is one of the most valuable virtues in wealth building. Time and consistent effort trump quick wins every time. Financial discipline also extends to the way we handle debt, emergencies, and opportunities. It means avoiding impulsive borrowing and instead preparing for unforeseen circumstances through savings and insurance. It means waiting for the right opportunity and not rushing just because of pressure or excitement. Remember, wealth is not a result of luck or intelligence alone. It is a result of consistent, disciplined action over time. When you detach your emotions from your finances and commit to making decisions rooted in strategy and purpose, you build a fortress around your wealth. Money will respect your discipline, and in turn, your financial future will reflect that respect. Control your emotions. Don't let your emotions control your money. That is the difference between fleeting riches and lasting wealth. Learning without action is like planting seeds in barren soil. You may have the knowledge, but nothing grows. The difference between those who struggle financially and those who build lasting wealth is not just in what they know, but in what they do with what they know. Knowledge is only powerful when it's applied consistently and with intention. In my own life, I realized early on that reading books and attending seminars was only the beginning. What mattered was how I took those lessons and translated them into practical steps. I remember reading about effective sales techniques, and rather than just nodding along, I committed to using one new idea each week in my work. That small shift learning with purpose transformed my income and my confidence. If you want learning to be profitable, you need a system. After every book, course, or conversation, ask yourself, what specific action can I take in the next 7 days that will move my finances forward? Maybe it's creating a budget, making a sales call, or researching an investment. The key is to connect learning directly to doing. This turns knowledge into momentum. It's also important to remember that not every lesson will produce immediate results, but every lesson adds to your foundation. Wealth builds over time, and each step forward is progress. Winners don't wait for the perfect moment or perfect knowledge. They start with what they have and improve along the way. Implementing learning keeps you engaged, motivated, and growing. It creates a feedback loop. The more you apply, the more you see what works, what doesn't, and what you need to learn next. This cycle accelerates your progress and keeps your financial goals within reach. I encourage you to keep a learning journal, a place where you jot down key insights and, more importantly, the actions you commit to taking. Review it weekly to hold yourself accountable. This simple habit can change the way you absorb knowledge and turn it into wealth. Remember, wealth isn't built by passive readers or listeners. It's built by active doers. Learning becomes profitable only when it drives action. Commit to applying one new idea each week and watch your financial life transform over time. Start today, learn with a purpose, and act with intention. That is the path to financial growth and lasting wealth. Goals without deadlines are like ships without rudders adrift and aimless. I have often seen people dream big but never quite reach their destination because they never set a clear timeline. Setting financial goals is important, but what transforms those goals from mere hopes into achievable plans is attaching a specific deadline and a detailed roadmap. When I started on my own path to financial independence, I learned that simply saying, "I want to be wealthy someday," wasn't enough. I had to be precise. I decided I wanted to accumulate a certain net worth by a certain age. Writing that down gave me clarity and a sense of urgency. It turned vague desire into actionable ambition. Deadlines create pressure, not the kind that causes anxiety, but the kind that fuels focus. When you know the clock is ticking, every choice becomes more meaningful. You prioritize differently. You say no to distractions. You invest time and resources into the activities that align with your goal. But deadlines alone aren't enough. You must pair them with a plan. Think of your goal as a destination, the deadline as your arrival date, and the plan as your map. Without a clear plan, you might know where you want to go, but you won't know how to get there. Breaking down your financial goals into smaller milestones, monthly savings targets, quarterly investment reviews, income-building efforts gives you tangible checkpoints. This makes the process less overwhelming and keeps motivation high. For example, if your goal is to have $100,000 invested in 4 years, break it down. What do you need to save and invest each month? What returns can you realistically expect? How will you adjust if life throws curveballs? Creating that plan is what makes a big goal manageable and achievable. I've also learned the power of writing down these goals and reviewing them regularly. Revisiting your targets daily or weekly keeps your mind aligned with your objectives and allows you to course correct. The rich don't just hope for wealth, they track their progress, measure their efforts, and adapt as needed. Remember, a goal without a deadline and a plan remains a dream. But when you put a number on the paper and a date on the calendar, your dream begins its journey to reality. Clarity and discipline walk hand in hand towards success. Set your financial goals with precision, give them deadlines, and back them with a detailed plan. Then act with consistency and watch your vision unfold. When it comes to building lasting wealth, the journey begins not with the first dollar earned, but with a clear vision of where you want to be 10 years from now. A 10-year wealth vision is like planting a seed that will grow into a mighty tree strong, expansive, and fruitful. Without this vision, you risk drifting aimlessly, caught in the tides of daily distractions and short-term urgencies. But with it, your actions become purposeful, your decisions disciplined, and your future secure. I remember early in my life, before I understood the value of vision, I was simply reacting to whatever came my way. There was no long-term plan guiding my actions. When I finally sat down and wrote out where I wanted to be in 10 years, something profound happened. Suddenly, the path became clearer. I could see the income I desired, the lifestyle I wanted to live, the investments I needed to build, and the freedom I longed to have. That vision didn't just inspire me, it disciplined me. Writing down your 10-year wealth vision means going beyond vague wishes. Be specific. How much income will you earn? What kind of lifestyle do you want? What investments will you have made? How much time freedom will you create for yourself and your family? This clarity will shape every decision you make starting today. But the power of vision lies not only in seeing the destination, it's in reverse engineering the journey. Once you know where you want to be, ask yourself, what actions must I take today, this week, this month, and this year to get there? This backward planning breaks down what looks like a distant dream into manageable concrete steps. For example, if your 10-year vision includes having multiple streams of passive income, you need to begin learning about those income streams now. If it includes owning property, start researching the market and saving for that first down payment. If it means financial freedom, you must begin controlling your expenses and increasing your savings rate. Vision brings discipline because it creates a standard against which every choice is measured. When faced with spending temptations, the person with a clear 10-year plan asks, does this purchase help me move toward my vision, or does it pull me away? When opportunities come along, they evaluate if those align with their long-term goals or are mere distractions. I've witnessed countless people fail not because they lacked ability or opportunity, but because they lacked vision. They floated from one job to another, one investment to the next, without a compass. A vision gives you that compass. It keeps you steady when storms arise and ensures you don't settle for less than what you deserve. Take the time today to write down your 10-year wealth vision. Make it as vivid and detailed as possible. Then reverse engineer your actions. Create habits, learn skills, make investments all aligned with that vision. Over time, these small disciplined steps compound into a life of wealth, freedom, and fulfillment. Without vision, you drift. With it, you steer your own ship toward success. Make your vision clear. Make your actions consistent. Your future depends on it. At the end of each week, I make it a point to pause and reflect, not just to look back, but to look forward with clearer eyes. Reflection is the compass that turns raw experience into valuable wisdom. Without it, you may be moving, but you're not necessarily moving in the right direction. I learned early on that the most successful people don't just act, they pause, assess, and adjust. That's how they improve results week by week, year by year. Each week, I ask myself 3 fundamental questions. What did I earn? What did I learn? And what did I waste? These questions aren't just for curiosity, they're powerful tools for growth. Knowing what you earned shows you if your income efforts are bearing fruit. What you learn reflects how you're investing in your greatest asset, yourself. And understanding what you wasted helps you cut out distractions and losses that silently drain your progress. Many people neglect this simple habit, caught up in the busyness of daily life. They work hard but never really understand where their energy, time, and money are going. Reflection brings clarity and helps you course correct before small issues become big problems. It's like a weekly financial and personal report card that you control. I remember when I first started practicing this habit, it was eye-opening. I realized how many hours I lost to unproductive tasks, how often I failed to apply what I learned, and how my income was tied directly to my daily habits. This awareness motivated me to sharpen my focus, prioritize learning, and invest time in income-generating activities. Reflection also deepens your understanding of yourself. You begin to notice patterns, what works and what doesn't, when your energy peaks, and which decisions bring the best returns. This self-knowledge is invaluable because your biggest competition and opportunity for growth always lies within. Moreover, reflection creates momentum. Each week you build on what you learned, eliminate what holds you back, and fine-tune your actions. It's a continuous cycle of improvement. Over time, this compound effect dramatically boosts your results and accelerates your journey to wealth and freedom. Don't wait for a crisis or a major failure to reflect. Make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. Set aside time every week, Sunday evening, Friday afternoon, whenever fits your schedule, and honestly review your income, your lessons, and your losses. Reflection is not about judgment or self-criticism. It's about wisdom and progress. It's the bridge between experience and excellence. Remember, consistent winners are those who reflect regularly, learn from their past, and apply those lessons to create better tomorrows. Take time this week to reflect. Turn your experiences into wisdom, and watch your results grow beyond what you thought possible. One of the most powerful realizations in my journey toward wealth was understanding that true financial success doesn't happen in isolation. It thrives within a family philosophy. When you make wealth a shared mission, something remarkable happens. It multiplies, it lasts, and it becomes a legacy that transcends generations. But this requires more than just talking about money. It requires creating a culture in your home where financial wisdom, discipline, and vision are embraced by everyone. Teaching your children about money is not about handing them riches. It's about handing them the tools and mindset to build their own riches. This means starting early talking about saving, spending wisely, investing, and the value of work. Share stories of your wins and failures. Let them see that money is a tool, not a treasure, and that wealth is created by habits, values, and long-term thinking. I have seen parents who keep their children in the dark about money unintentionally pass on poor financial thinking, creating a cycle that's hard to break. Instead, involve your children in age-appropriate financial discussions and decisions. Let them participate in family budgeting or saving for goals. Make money a topic of education, not taboo. Discussing money openly with your spouse or partner is equally vital. Wealth multiplies when you work as a team. Shared goals create shared energy. It builds trust and cooperation, allowing you to make better decisions together. I have found that many financial conflicts arise not from lack of money, but from lack of communication and alignment. When your family shares a clear financial vision, it becomes easier to say no to distractions, yes to investments, and stay disciplined through challenges. A family philosophy of wealth also involves shared values beyond just dollars. It's about integrity, responsibility, generosity, and gratitude. When these values are modeled and reinforced daily, money becomes a means to support your family's purpose, not an end in itself. It brings peace, joy, and opportunity rather than stress and division. I urge you to create this philosophy in your home. Start by sharing your financial vision openly. Invite your family to learn alongside you. Teach your children the principles that will empower them for life. Make money a team effort, not a solo struggle. When everyone rows together, wealth becomes a powerful, unbreakable force that grows steadily over time. Your legacy begins with the mindset you cultivate in your family today. Build wealth together, and you build something that lasts far beyond your own lifetime. As we come to the close of this conversation, remember this: wealth is not an accident, nor is it reserved for the lucky few. It is the natural result of deliberate thinking, purposeful action, and unwavering consistency. The journey to financial freedom doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen one step at a time through the daily choices you make, the habits you cultivate, and the mindset you nurture. What separates those who remain stuck from those who move forward is not opportunity or luck, but a clear vision paired with persistent effort. You now have the tools to begin shifting your thinking, seeing money, not as a fleeting goal, but as a resource to build lasting freedom and legacy. Start today by defining your vision with clarity. Write down your financial goals and revisit them every day. Track where your money flows and make conscious decisions that serve growth, not mere survival. Invest in yourself through daily learning and align your actions with long-term values. Build your income streams, automate your success habits, and involve your family in the journey toward wealth. But vision alone is not enough. Wealth requires consistent work, even when motivation fades. It calls for patience, discipline, and the willingness to delay gratification. It's about embracing the slow, steady process that compounds into remarkable results over time. Think like a winner by learning daily, acting consistently, and living rich not just in money but in knowledge, relationships, and purpose. Your future is shaped by what you do today. So take action now. Plant the seeds of change with small, intentional steps and watch as your financial landscape transforms. Remember, wealth isn't just what you earn, it's who you become in the process. Commit to that growth, and the rest will follow.